Hey guys, it's Gaz. Welcome to the Warframe video. So today we are going to be talking about the Quatz, which I believe is how you pronounce this weapon's name. It is another pistol that we have gotten just completely out of the blue in a hotfix, and this thing has a lot of weird gimmicks with it. So we're first going to go over like the base way this weapon performs, how you might want to build it. We'll show it against some enemies, show some usage cases, and then we'll be going into some gameplay at the end. But before I go over that, guys, I would just like to say, anyone who has come over from Tactical Potatoes channel, welcome. We really go in depth on some stuff on this channel sometimes for build videos, so bear with me. Feel free to skip around in the video if you don't want to watch the whole thing. I know that I like to go really in depth sometimes, so yeah. There'll also be two videos today, guys. This will be the video I upload now in about 12 hours. Actually, it'll be more like 10 hours. We'll be doing a Nightwave tips and tricks video, which we do every week for Nightwave. Okay, so now that's out of the way, let's go over the Quatz. So this thing has two different firing modes, and the way that you switch between these firing modes, guys, it's actually not like a toggle. You don't like push the alternate fire button to switch between two different modes. The way this works is that you have a ADS mode, so when you aim down sights, it is semi-auto and fires 4 bullets at once. But if you do it in hip-fire mode, it's a fully automatic situation, which is more status-based. The ADS mode is very crit-based. It's got like a 2.5 crit damage multiplier on the ADS mode, so yeah. This thing also has base electric and impact, puncture, and slash. So yeah, really good. Also really high status chance on the normal mode, the hip-fire mode. But notice that 2.7 second reload time, guys. What is up with these really long reload weapons they've been adding lately? We had the Comarax with a 3-second reload, the Yuge Prime, that was a 3-second reload as well, I believe. The Cyanex, that was like 2.6 seconds. They are just giving us all these guns with extremely terrible reload speed. Like, what is up with that? But this thing also does a cool little gimmick where when you empty it from a completely emptied magazine, it releases a 8-meter shock radius around you that will guarantee proc on enemies. So we'll go over that. It's kind of just a gimmick. It's not super important, but here's the hip-fired mode. So I'm hip-firing. If I ADS while I'm hip-fired, it will keep it in fully automatic while I am ADS'd. So that's a little trick you can do, is like start out as hip-fire, then ADS if you want to like get some more direct hits in there. But as you see right here, we're going to ADS. Like, this is us ADSing from the start. It's not fully automatic anymore. It's semi-auto. This has really good crit chance and crit damage. Like I said, 2.5 multiplier at base. That's really good. Let's go over the build that we're using here. So you can actually do a lot of stuff here. But yeah, this is what we're doing right now. So we have two 60/60 mods. You could potentially just only run the Toxin one here because this thing has base electric, so if you put just one Toxin mod in here, guys, it will make it corrosive. So that's really nice. But the way this works out, we're just going to do these two 60/60 mods to get our status chance up to like 92% on the fully automatic mode. And then we also have the crit mods in here, so it's kind of like a hybrid build. This is like the best of both worlds, so we can rock some enemies really hard with the semi-auto mode, and then we can strip armor really fast with the semi-auto mode, which still has 37% crit chance. So that's pretty nice. But do notice that we have primed quick draw in here, guys. So if you don't want to run primed quick draw because you're okay with a 2.7 second reload time, all you need to do is just put a 90% elemental in that slot. You'll have a very long reload time, but you'll do a lot more damage. So and when you're doing the semi-auto mode with like the high crits, that extra little bit of base damage right there, like 200 points of base damage, that's going to get multiplied by 5 with our crit multiplier, so that actually does give you a lot more damage. But me personally, I can't stand the insane reload time this thing has at base, so we're going to do Prime Quick Draw on the build I'm going to be using. But do keep in mind, those options are available to you. Okay, so we've talked about enough. Let's go over how you would use this thing on some enemies. I'm going to do level 80. That's basically like the top end of sortie missions, which is probably where I would recommend using this thing if you're going to go all in on a build. Like, we have 5 forma on this build. Honestly, guys, your forma might be better used on like a kit gun or something. Okay, so let's do the full auto. So see, it's removing the armor pretty fast. Kill that level 80 gunner relatively quickly. Do semi-auto. Go for headshots here. 3-shot her. This is with no riven. Rivens for this thing are insanely expensive right now. I have not seen one for under 3,000. But I also have not really been looking too hard. So yeah, pretty nice. Now we're going to fully unload the magazine, and then we'll be doing some electricity pulses. See, it did 1 damage to them. It's really not a damage-focused thing, guys, for the electricity pulse. Like, it does like 3 damage to unarmored enemies, so it's really not the focus here. We're basically just using that, like, if we're in the midst of combat, just like stun some guys around us, start attacking them. So here's what I would recommend to you guys. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're actually going to start off with the full auto mode to strip some armor. She's got a bunch of her armor removed, then we switch to the semi-auto, and then we can just like 2-tap her, because she has less armor than she did before. That's honestly like a pretty nice playstyle, in my opinion, and it will let you get a lot bigger damage against high-level enemies that don't have their armor removed. We currently have no corrosive projection equipped right now, so yeah, let's just show it against some level 165s, which is not really something you're normally going to be encountering at all, but, you know, we'd like to just show how it would work against these kind of guys here. So, as you can see, now these guys have a lot of armor. We do need to remove some of their armor before we start shooting them with the semi-auto. Now that some of her armor has been removed, she's taken a lot more damage. Her head is completely gone, so that's too bad for her. And yeah, this is just, like, this is the best of both worlds build. We also are missing a damage mod because we're running primed quick draw here. I actually have a full status build that we can go over very briefly. It's mostly going to be a condition overload applier, because this thing's actually really good at applying statuses for condition overload, guys. Let's just quickly show that build. The condition overload build has a lot of flexibility, but what I ended up doing is just like taking off the damage mod so I can fit some fire rate on here. I need to have prime quick draw on here, guys. Like, I cannot take the 2-second reload. It's too much. We got steady hands, because this thing has a really aggressive recoil when you're firing it very quickly in the full auto mode. Okay, so we got corrosive cold. We could go with another dual stat and guess 99% status chance with blast, but I don't like blast damage. Let's unpause these guys and use my self-invincibility. Okay, so let's just show how it would be with condition overload. So, this guy's got lots of procs on him. His armor's already gone, so yeah, this thing is really good for removing armor. And that gives us a bunch of procs. This thing is potentially one of the best condition overload secondaries in the game, because it's got impact puncture slash and base electric. So you can mod it for corrosive and blast, or corrosive and cold, whatever you want to do. They'll also get you impact puncture and slash, and when you reload it, it also gives you an electric proc. So that's tons of procs, guys. You can't really rely on the electric proc, because that only happens when you're emptying from a fully emptied magazine, but at the same time, like, you potentially could. So yeah, that build works great for that specific situation. That's completely the melee doing the damage there, though. So yeah, that's going to be it for the builds. We have another build right here with no primed mods on it. This honestly works just fine. This is like the best of both worlds build with no primed mods. So let's compare the two really quickly. I think you get like 20 less crit chance if you do the no primed mods. Yeah, so we go from 59.4% crit chance on the no primed build to 77% chance with the primed mods. So not too big of a difference, but you will notice it for sure. Okay, but yeah, here's the thing, guys. This thing comes with no polarities at base, so I had to put 5 form on this build. In my personal opinion, if you are someone that doesn't have like a ton of weapon slots and like a ton of forma just sitting around, I'd say just building a kit gun is probably a better idea. Something like Love Tap, Catch Moon Splat, Catch Moon Kill Stream Haymaker, maybe like even a Tomb Finger Splat Haymaker, or if you want like a rapid fire situation, there's lots of different options. I have a full video on all the Gaze kit guns. More like 4 Gaze kit guns that I built, and then there's also the Rattle Guts. I'd say that those probably like more useful overall, but this thing can do like I said, it can do the best of both worlds. We have the status in the full auto mode, and then pretty good crit in the semi-auto mode. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna say maybe if you don't have a lot of weapon slots, go with a kit gun. But let's go over some gameplay here and some pros and cons. Okay, so first off, let's do some cons. So this thing, it can run out of ammo extremely quickly if you're just rocking the full auto mode all the time. Honestly, like, we'll show the gameplay, and like, it's a 4-minute mission, guys, and I ran out of ammo in that mission. Okay, so it can shoot through it. Like, it's got like 500 reserve shots, and the magazine is 72. So if and it has a 24 fire rate with this build we have on here. So you are chewing through your ammo so fast, and the enemies honestly don't even drop enough ammo for you to sustain it. So you might want to actually run like a carrier or something with an ammo mutation if you want to just be like spray and praying this thing all over the place. So yeah, definitely keep that one in mind. We already went over the automatic mode is terrible recoil. You can probably get used to that though. Awful reload speed. Mentioned it multiple times at this point. No polarities at base. So lots of forma. Like, we got 5 forma on here, guys. If you're buying a forma at full price for like 20 plat, that's like 100 plat that we just put into this thing. If you think about it that way, I don't really think it's worth it, but still, at the same time, it's a good weapon. Unreliable at range. This thing is definitely not going to be used at like 40 plus meters range at all. I would not recommend it. The base electric does hurt the gas build. So since we have base electric on this thing, guys, we cannot get a pure gas IPS build. It will always be gas electric at the very least. So that's kind of a bummer if you want a gas build. I definitely, this thing is like an anti-Grineer weapon in my opinion, because since it's got the base electric, you can do either corrosive, you can do radiation, which are the best types of damage against the Grineer in most situations. So yeah, it's pretty good at anti-Grineer. It's also a Grineer weapon, which is kind of ironic, but I wouldn't really recommend it against the Corpus in most situations. And it should have a toggle mode in my personal opinion. Like, having to ADS to do the semi-auto just kind of feels weird sometimes, so maybe they could change that. And the shock AoE only happens in a fully empty magazine, which is kind of a bummer, but, you know, it's not really a big focus of the weapon. Cover some quick pros, and we'll go over the gameplay as well. So the base electric makes the corrosive build super easy. Like, it's literally, you can put just one Toxim on here, guys. So simple. It's already in corrosive mode for you. The automatic mode destroys nullifiers and strips armor quickly. Like, we've removed the armor from the heavy gunner, like, so fast. And we, like, don't even have, like, a 100% status build, so it was pretty impressive, honestly. And honestly, if you see a nullifier with this thing, the nullifier's bubble is gone, like, instantly. Semi-auto fires 4 bullets at once before multi-shot and has high crit stats. That 4-bullet shot right there is actually really deadly, and I love it, honestly. Like, this thing is actually pretty fun, but at the same time, probably not entirely worth all the investment, in my personal opinion. Went over the reload thing. And then for condition overload, this thing is definitely like one of the top tier condition overload appliers in the game. I'd say like it's very similar to the Cyanex. The Cyanex can get impact, puncture, slash, and like I think like 2 or 3 elementals in addition. So that thing is potentially a little bit better, but at the same time, this thing can have a crit build as well, which is really nice. And then additionally, it's a market blueprint, so you get this from the market, guys. You don't have to have a clan for this one. So no clan or forma required for building. But you're going to want forma on the build to fit it all on, okay? So let's go over the Kuva Flood gameplay now. We're going to be going, I think it's a capture mission on Pluto with level 80 enemies. We got Anaros. We're actually trying out Arcane Awakening here, guys. Since this thing, the way I use it, I'm reloading this thing all the time because I like to see the shock AoE. So we're trying out Arcane Awakening, which will give us 100% extra pistol damage when we reload our weapon. It's a 40% chance for that to happen. And yeah, honestly, I think it works pretty nicely. We're speeding up the mission slightly here. It's like a 4-minute mission, and we have it at 125% speed. So yeah, you'll see we're using a corrosive build against the Corpus. So if you guys didn't know, corrosive is really not what I would recommend against the Corpus in most situations. It doesn't have the best multipliers against their health and all that, and they don't have any armor, so like the procs aren't really doing anything. But you'll see, like we can still basically like 1 or 2 shot them with no Riven. So here we are using semi-auto. 1-shot that guy. It was a headshot though, so it's giving us more damage than if we were to body shot him. But you know, you should be going for headshots anyway. That guy took 2 shots there. See, if we go for headshots and we hit most of the pellets, it's gonna 1-shot these guys, even with a bad multiplier. There we go. We did the shock proc there. It stunned that guy around the I don't know if he was around the corner actually, but he was right next to us. It's an 8-meter radius on that shock, guys. So definitely not going to be like stunning the whole room when you're reloading this thing, but it's a nice little gimmick. It's definitely not like I would still use the weapon even if it didn't have that gimmick, but the fact it has the gimmick just makes it feel a lot cooler in my personal opinion. And if I was to recommend like a God Roll Riven for this thing, I'd say maybe just try to get like a crit Riven for this thing because like maybe a crit chance, crit damage, multi-shot. You know how it is. That's like basically the God Roll for most weapons that aren't like completely status based. But I could see some possibilities. Maybe like a reload Riven. Definitely not fire rate. This thing has more than enough fire rate as is. But like maybe like reload, critical chance, multi-shot. That would be pretty cool. And then minus zoom. Minus zoom, as long as the weapon can get minus zoom on a Riven, that's going to be usually the best negative, guys. Unless you're like going really hard in the paint and you're trying to get like minus slash or something like that to like make your elemental procs more reliable. It's usually going to be minus zoom is the way to go. Okay, so yeah, we're just like kind of chilling here. Notice that we have 152 shots left and a 24 in our magazine. So we are just like not even trying, like we're just chewing through our ammo. And the enemies are dropping like 20 pistol ammo whenever they drop ammo. So it's like really, like I think we do run out of ammo here actually. Here's the Kuva Guardian. So see, like we're running a reload mod right now, so we're missing a ton of damage here, and we can still kill the Kuva Guardian in like less than a magazine, which is pretty nice. Okay, so yeah, overall, would I recommend this to you guys? I'm gonna say yes, I would recommend it to you, but at the same time, if you already have a bunch of good pistols, this thing is not like groundbreaking enough that I'd say like, oh, you need to have this. Like 100% recommend. I'd say like on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd rate this thing like maybe like a 6 or a 7, like 6.5 or 7 out of 10, because like the possibilities of having a good status build and a crit build at the same time is really, really convenient, honestly. Like, I used did a couple corrosive procs there, then used my Ninkandi Prime to just, like, destroy the heavy gunner in, like, one hit, so... Yeah, and like this is the crit build basically. So you can do both things there. You can even push this thing even higher in the crit if you wanted to. I don't really think that's necessary. I wouldn't use this in like a really long survival or anything like that. I don't think it's really worth it. I'd say you'll probably just be using cheese methods honestly at that point anyway. So yeah, this is not gonna be your main DPS source, especially with these ammo issues. Notice we have 20 shots right now, and now I have 1 bullet. So yeah, the enemies aren't gonna drop the ammo for us. So whatever. But I hope you guys found this video helpful. Thank you so much, everyone that checked out the channel from Tactical Potato. We'll be doing another video tonight on Nightwave. We'll be going over all the new challenges. We'll be showing what the new cred offerings are, and we'll also be going over just like some good ways to do these challenges as fast as possible. Because a lot of the times, like there's like the Nightwave challenges that you can do them all in one day if you know what to do correctly. You can probably get them down in a couple hours, honestly. I did the Nightwave challenges this week. It took me like probably like 2 or 3 hours, and I like wasn't even like going hard. So yeah, I hope you guys found this video helpful. Please like, share, subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later tonight. Peace.